afternoon, everybody. A warm and hello welcome from CXOTV.news, our flagship brand under Tech Plus Media Group. I am Anand Sharma from Tech Plus Media, your host for today's event. We have been running this webinar series titled Marketing Mondays for over a year now to provide a platform to marketeers to learn from fellow marketing gurus. Recently, a nice word called toolkit was in the news, but for all wrong reasons. We have kept today's topic around marketing toolkit that would be needed during crisis times as we are witnessing today. We would try to cover what should be considered as a crisis and how to manage it, how to prepare, how to respond, and how to evaluate a crisis, and what marketing team can do to help the organization to navigate through a crisis. In case you want us to cover any other pointer or have a question, please mention that in the Q&A section or chat panel. We have an eminent panel today, and I'll request them to do a quick self-introduction. Abhishek, why do not we start with you on the alphabetical order?
Absolutely. So, hi Anand, thanks for having me. Of course, excited to be here, right? And to everybody else, hi. My name is Abhishek Bajpai. I work with the marketing department for Cactus Communications. For those of you who do not know what Cactus is, Cactus basically aims to accelerate scientific development. And the way we go about doing that is we leverage technology, where we work with each and every stakeholder involved in this entire process, be it the researchers, the academics, the professors in the B2C sort of spectrum. And then we also work with the universities, the scientific societies, and communities from a B2B perspective. So, yeah, I think that's all.
Thanks a lot. And first of all, super thrilled to be here. Definitely, I love the agenda that, how do you go about handling a crisis, and where does really marketing bridge the gap here? So super thrilled to be here, and thank you for having me here today. That being said, Aditya Kamula, I'm from Hyderabad. I represent Skillsoft from a demand generation and marketing standpoint for three major regions, APAC, India, as well as Middle East Africa. And so in my capacity, really the thing that I get up and sleep with is essentially demand generation. And I'd like to kind of leave my introduction to that. And of course, happy to connect even after the webinar, but you'll surely hear a lot about what I do in my capacity over the webinar. So I'll kind of keep it very brief.
Thanks, Anand. And hi, Aditya. Hi, Abhishek. And hi to all people tuned in or watching it later. So my name is Rahul Mishra, and I head marketing for Shemaroo Entertainment. We are one of the oldest entertainment brands in India, about 58 years in existence. And at the moment, we are undergoing a journey of becoming a large B2C brand. So what we currently operate in terms of entertainment is a huge catalog of Bollywood films. We're one of the largest banks of Bollywood films in India, followed by an OTT platform, Shemaroo Me, which caters to the Bharat of India, and obviously some regional play as well. And two broadcast television channels, one in Marathi and one a Hindi general entertainment channel. And we also have multiple other businesses such as preloaded speakers and various initiatives which are on at the moment. So it's going to be an exciting conversation today, because a lot of what we went on to start has been in the middle of a big crisis as well. So how we are sort of overcoming those challenges, and hopefully people will find value in what I'm going to share today. So look forward to that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rahul, and welcome on board. I once again thank you, Aditya, Abhishek, and Rahul, for being our panelists today. So friends, you must have heard about those who sweat in peace don't bleed in war. Well, this prophecy holds true for almost everything around risk management, and not only military. If you prepare in advance, you can better respond to a crisis. Many of you would say it's a no-brainer, right? But still, entire nations have been found to be caught unaware or unprepared when a crisis strikes. Either there was lack of foresight, or inappropriate prioritization, or inadequate mitigation plans, whatever it may be. In our context, for an organization, let us try to identify and learn how a marketing team can prepare for a crisis and what the CMO's battalion can do if a crisis hits the organization. Can we, the marketeers, keep a toolkit ready, just like we have BCP-DR being very widely implemented in IT? Well, let's learn what our panelists have to recommend on this. The views expressed by the speakers are their own and may not represent the viewpoint of the organizations they work with. Again, I'll go with the alphabetical order. Let me start with Abhishek. Abhishek, what would you term as a crisis in general as well as in the context of marketing?
Absolutely, Anand. I think, yeah. And if I was to share my 2 cents on what I think I would define a crisis by, I think for me personally, crisis is a great deal of imbalance, right? I'm a man who believes very strongly in balance of things. And for me, when there is a great deal of imbalance, or when there is some key fundamental factors that are required to balance something that are sort of missing or are not in sort of sync, I think that's when crisis sets in. And it is important to have a very clear vision of what these factors are that define balance for you. Because I think if that is not clear, or if you're not very sure on what are the key fundamental factors you hold very important to yourself in terms of identifying balance for you, crises are going to happen a lot more often than you would like, right? So I think that's very important from my perspective. And when we sort of talk about marketing, Anand, I think the concept of balance for me personally becomes even more fundamental. Because if I were to sort of, give my 2 cents on what I think marketing is, I think marketing is at the center of every organization, or for that matter, even an individual. I think anything that you try to sort of set out to do, if marketing is not going hand in hand with your thought process or your planning, you're probably not going to be able to reach your target, or you're going to be able to reach it, but you're going to have a very long and hard way to get there. So marketing is that gap, right? Marketing is that bridge to be able to give you a better sort of road to get to where you want to go. And marketing exists in different forms, Anand. I think you would agree with me on this. Be it when you're talking to your internal stakeholders, be it when you're talking to customers and clients, marketing works in different formats, right? So even within an organization, when you're talking to your sales team, when you're talking to your product team, when you're talking to your strategy teams, marketing has different challenges and plays different roles there as well, right? So crisis can exist in multiple formats in my understanding. So it is very important to be able to have those factors that I just spoke about previously, right? And because that is going to keep balance in every different equation that you as a marketer will have to face and work with, in your entire marketing journey. And for me, I think the factors and the marketing principles are very simple. I personally like to focus on two things. One is I want to understand my customer very well. I want to know exactly who they are and what they think. And the second is I want to understand the value that I can provide to them. I think once I understand these two things, I'm a much better marketer. So I think I'll leave it at that.
Sure. Thank you, Abhishek. Aditya, coming to you, have you heard of ever a survival toolkit? Do you have a survival toolkit? And I'm making it more complicated. If yes, what does it contain? If no, what should it contain? Over to you, Aditya.
All right, let me take that answer in a second. But I'd like to kind of reflect on what you just mentioned, the military analogy. I think that makes entire sense. That kind of is the way that even marketers should work. And more importantly, to what even Abhishek just mentioned, I think it was Henry Ford who mentioned at some point back in his days to say, hey, marketing is so important that it can't be left to marketeers in an organization. It is something that everyone has to actually imbibe it, right? From a customer success to sales to even operations. So fantastic point, Abhishek, so to speak. But coming to your question on, hey, first of all, crisis, and then the second is there a toolkit? So I'm going to just turn this slightly and not be provocative at all, but I'm going to call this less of a crisis and more of an opportunity, to be honest, from a marketing standpoint. Yeah, in the sense, opportunity for a lot of organizations to finally get on the digital marketing, journey. There have been a lot of organizations who have always felt it. We have been, research after research has been telling that, hey, 70%, 80% of the sales cycle is now online for B2B as well as B2C. B2C anyway, it's about 100% these days. So my view would be, hey, this is an opportunity from a marketing standpoint. Number two, coming to the original question, is, hey, do we have a toolkit? Yeah, is it a yes or a no? I would say yes and no. I'd like to answer why no. Why no to a toolkit? Because I wouldn't want to limit any organization, any team by saying, hey, this is a toolkit. This is your magic wand. This is your silver bullet. That's absolutely not true. And I don't want to go down that path. So that's my answer from a no standpoint. But coming to a yes standpoint, again, like Abhishek mentioned, as well as I think there are enough authors, so to speak, like even in the book, which reminds me about how to build a story brand. I think it's imminent and it is integral now more than ever because of all the noise and the blur that you hear in the digital space. Every organization is on the webinar. Every organization is doing emailer. Every organization is doing social media. It is way more. You have to step up, honestly speaking, when it comes to, like Abhishek mentioned, your positioning. To me, that is the most important thing. So I'll give you a case in point. We started off the COVID journey with the same thing to say, like just bomb people with webinars because this is a great time, because this was a time when you could reach out more than ever. Yeah. And we were, a lot of my partners in the region, not just in India, as well as Middle East, Africa, APAC, they said, hey, we don't want to get onto this digital bandwagon because the human connect is lost. Yeah, that is the biggest, I think, roadblock that organizations come to say. However, I think over time, what we have seen is we shortened our formats, but we really got after really focused campaigns. We started talking about virtual roundtables where you have panel discussions, but then you have panels within sub panels wherein people are able to, these decision makers are able to network with themselves and really resonate and understand the challenges. Now that to me is not a format game, but that to me is something to say, hey, how do I cut through in this market? The only way, pretty much to what Abhishek said, is relevancy, relevant positioning. That would be my toolkit, so to answer. Now, how you make yourself or how do you communicate to become, to communicate that out and that outreach? We've got a gazillion tools, right? Twitter, social media, emailers, and I don't really want to talk about those today. I mean, we can talk about it in later time, but that would be the essence. Stay relevant, stay sharp, ensure that you are very clear on your positioning, and then of course, have those very tiny focused ones, because you will always find a group, maybe of the same industry, maybe these organizations that are actually competing against each other. So let's say all the manufacturing put together or pharma put together, because they're very keen, right? Once an innovator in that space does or gets on board onto your solution, then there's a fear of missing out with the rest of the group, right? So you need to find those fine positionings, and I can talk for hours and hours, but I don't know. We've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to limit myself, but hopefully that kind of scratches the surface. So I'll take a pause there.
Sure. So I'll come back to you, asking as to what all it should be, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the marketing toolkit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but before that, let me turn to Rahul. So Rahul, how would you describe marketing survival toolkit? What are the things a CMO can plan in advance for crisis management for the organization?
Thanks, Anand. I think very interesting listening to Abhishek and Aditya both on the perspectives. I think before we dwell in a little deeper on the toolkit subject, I think let's firstly acknowledge that May 21 probably has been the darkest month, at least in our lifetimes, we've seen. It's been probably the toughest period where we've seen COVID affecting, us, our friends, our family members, our near and dear ones. Uh, and what has happened is that in this moment of crisis, we have all gone out and extended help, right? I'm sure all of us here in the group listening in has done some sort of reach out to support and help people, which may or may not be as active in the past. And I think similar to now linking it back to the conversation of marketing, I think brands, uh, I would like to believe that brands like to get into a relationship with their customers as well, right? So in the time of a crisis, what is the toolkit required? I think toolkit is to reach out. I think that's the first thing a brand should do. It should continue to communicate and build a level of trust with its customers, like we would do as individuals, right? When we will make our own contributions to help each other. So brands, first of all, should acknowledge that fact that they are dealing with human beings, they're dealing with people. So let's bring on that element in their day-to-day communication. So now going back to this topic today, which is about what should a toolkit contain. I think from a marketing point of view, we have seen enough and more evidence that brands which advertise during a time of crisis are the ones who've grown faster, and that's 2008 study we've seen across Gartner and many ones we've seen that. So in a downturn, continue to talk to your audiences, your customers, helps you do a better comeback recovery. And it's similar to a relationship as well. If you're having a bad relationship, we don't stop talking, right? You've got to make things work. So if things are bad, keep talking, make it work with your end consumers, if it's B2B or B2C. So that's number one. Brands have to always be aware that survival toolkit means more communication for sure. I think two other points I would like to put here is I think every organization has to. So crisis continues at various levels at every point of time. Okay, some could be big, some could be small. I think brands have to decide in advance which issues are likely to have substantial impact and which are the normal run-of-the-mill issues, and then refocus the energies towards that. I think that's extremely important to be able to differentiate that what you need to do and what you need to stop. I think that's extremely important, and that should be done much ahead in advance, part of the planning process. And I think another important aspect here is that while as marketeers we will make those 2, 3, 5-year horizon plans, I think there should be a minimal viable plan always ready and kept on the table for organization to take forward in times of a crisis. And one of the most important aspects for that, I think Aditya spoke about the every organization now moving towards digital. We've seen a huge jump in companies digitizing themselves, and the marketing teams are in many companies leading those actually digitization processes as well, because they know the consumers have shifted so rapidly, so they can build a better marketing tool here on digital. But I think one of the most important facts before I sort of bring the question back to you, Anand, is I think lastly, the most important aspect is to have a future team, a future ready team, upskill the teams, especially the marketing teams who, the toolkit should have at all times people who are future ready, because a crisis can hit you at any point of time and you don't want to be looking back and saying, oh, I missed that opportunity or missed that I couldn't grow or I perished. So I think those are the 2, 3 important aspects I would urge every marketer to have in their toolkits. Yeah, I think that's from me. Thanks.
Sure. No, that was very informative, Rahul, and thanks for that. Okay, I did take up my notes, and there was few good insights. When reflecting back, when you talked about communication and the brand has to have a face of a human, right? Wherein you need to reach out to people in during a crisis. So very valid points. I'm totally with you. Thank you so much, Rahul. Abhishek, coming back to you, Abhishek, what are the key items a marketeer must focus on during a crisis? Though Rahul has covered a couple of them, but in case you want to add anything, and if you want
Yeah,
to list down priority wise that this is now 1, 2, 3.
absolutely, Anand. Yeah, so I think you're very right. In sort of my co-panelists Rahul and Aditya sort of covering a lot of the conversation in this regard. But I would still sort of try and put my sort of bit in the mix, for people who are listening, and maybe there's a fresh perspective here in some sort of manner, right? So, but I think Rahul and Aditya both made some very valid points, right? I think brands today are becoming increasingly empathetic, in my opinion, which I personally find very appealing. Because as a marketer, one of the major focus areas which I bring to the team is always trying to be more empathetic to your customers or to the audience you're trying to speak to. I think there goes a lot of effort behind a brand building sort of a community online, right? Like I think there's a lot of effort that, especially for brands who've been online for a while, I think they spend a lot of effort, time, money, and resources in sort of building a presence online and sort of building a community online. And I think during crisis or during times where things are not in balance, sort of going back to my previous conversation, the focus for that community or the way that a brand is able to use that community or leverage that community, to build a little bit of trust with the customers, to sort of extend that helping hand, or to sort of use that community to actually listen to your customers. Becomes paramount for me. I think, and another increasing sort of trend that I personally foresee, or probably something that has taken shape already and is only going to go up from here, Anand, I think is the way marketing is becoming a two-way street now. I don't think we live in an age anymore where marketing is just one directional communication where users are just sort of listening to what the brand has to say, right? I think today marketing is about a conversation and not sort of just a one-way street, as I mentioned, where a brand is just sort of releasing some sort of promotion activity or maybe an ad on TV and that's sort of it. Today, brands are actively having conversations with their audience, are trying to listen to the pain points of their audience, and are trying to actually in real time solve for that. And I think that again becomes an extremely important step that as a marketer you need to sort of take and sort of put effort towards in order to sort of reach out to your audience and let them know that they're not alone in this crisis, that you as a brand are going to not really be a salesy brand who was only going to, even in like in adverse situations, try and sort of look at profit or targets, but is going to sort of lend that helping hand, use that community that you've built with like thousands of followers, and is going to sort of give a little bit of a relief, or is going to give you that little bit of an extra help in these time of times. So I think these are some of the points that as a marketer you should definitely think about. And yeah, I think Anand, I think that's sort of it for me. If there's anything that you want me to sort of follow up on, happy to.
No, that's great. That's great, Abhishek. Any specific items that you would like to recommend to focus on during crisis?
I think my number one sort of priority that I would personally recommend to anybody listening is community building. You have to move away from the fact that marketing existed in the form of you releasing a ad on a social media platform or on a TV or writing a blog anymore. That's that is a good to have, but that is not going to get you where you want to go. I think you need to sort of start building community where you're having actual conversations. And more often than not, Anand, in my experience, what I've realized is the conversations, when you start having these conversations with your audience, they will give you the answers to your questions more often than not. Like a lot of times we as marketers sit down and try and evaluate a problem or a challenge that, okay, how do we reach this number, or how are we able to most efficiently communicate the value proposition of our product. And sometimes it gets very confusing, sitting at a desk in front of your laptop and trying to think about customers situated all over the world. So I think for me, what helps is I just leave that laptop and start having some conversations with people who I think actually would stand to benefit from these products. And trust me, it's been a lot of times where the answers have just come out of those conversations, right? So it really is not rocket science, in my opinion. Just start building these small communities, start having these conversations, be empathetic, and things will automatically fall in place for you. So, yeah.
Very great. Rather, what we're doing right now is actually community building for marketeers, right? So that was the whole idea. So I could relate to that, Abhishek. Thanks so much for your views on that. Aditya, coming back to my previous question, the pointers, and let me put it differently. What are the key items a marketeer should keep out of scope during crisis, so that he has fewer but important problems to solve, right? I didn't want to use the word Pareto and 80-20, but yeah. So
No,
go ahead.
that I would say is still the golden rule. As a matter of fact, you rightly put it. I mean, there are a lot of overheads marketers typically have. So I would certainly, and I'll tie it up with my previous, the question that you had, which I kind of didn't answer to its entirety. But first things first, I think is definitely this crisis or opportunity has taught us saying that, hey, you have to be lean. In terms of, marketeers, you can choose to have goals which are pertaining to the revenue and start taking decisions based on that, right? So when we're talking either about marketing automation or even emailers, sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of organizations across my partners to say, hey, I have a resource who can do that. Why do I need automation? Yeah. But what has to be seen is from the lens of really demand generation, in my opinion. I think every marketer should start thinking on those lines, not just, hey, I'm generating leads and handing it over to the team. But one should see the entire value chain to say, are these leads getting converted? Is this really helping my organization? So, to your question, what should you knock off is anything that is not helping your organization generate revenue. If you think that you are going to take this email database and then I'm going to manually intervene and say who are the no-shows and who are the attendees, and then I'm going to do that, you have solutions that are already automating all of that. Imagine it's not just the time that you're kind of saving, but I would call the mind space. You would instead have all that thought in your head to actually generate demand. So again, I would say be extremely lean, chop off things that you can automate. There are a lot of marketing automation, Marketo, Pardot, or even the lower ones, right? Like MailChimp and all of that, that can do things really easy for you. And you can spend spending time at least with the sales team, so to speak. But now, that being said, coming to your question of, hey, what should be your toolkit, right? Again, honing on my point and Abhishek's point of being relevant, I think what has worked to actually think about it is I come from a SaaS marketing space. So my answer for that would be account-based marketing. ABM, pretty much to Abhishek's point again, hey, we have to start listening more. And account-based marketing would give you that time and concentration and focus to just target on those specific businesses. That's when you're taking time to listen and then construct conversations that are actually the pain points like Abhishek mentioned, right? So that ABM, I would say, would be definitely, along with community building, ABM in some ways to build that relevancy, would be my first bit. I think the second that has really worked, which I've honestly speaking, I've experimented for the very first time, is artificial intelligence. Especially, we've started using this tool called Zoom Info. I am not a referral partner of Zoom Info, guys, so I'm not kind of selling this. But they have something called as intent-based marketing. So gone are those days of segmentation of, hey, I'll check head count wise, what are the number of organizations? Or I'll go after a pharmaceutical company, vertical, because hey, during COVID times, pharmaceutical is a great space to be in because they're all making lots of money. Fact of the matter is, you're not the only guy who's actually targeting pharmaceutical company. Now there is just whole lots of competition. There are tons of sales teams who are working on it. So I think you have to go and break the boundaries. I think definitely start experimenting on artificial intelligence tools that are really helping you kind of crawl the net to say, all right, hey, there is an intent for, in my case, a SaaS learning product. They will crawl the internet for you and give you that so and so organization is actually searching for e-learning today as we speak. Now that is a great time for your sales team to go ahead and pitch as well as marketing. So I would say those would be two that are really would help you kind of become very relevant. And then needless to say, I come from an e-learning organization. Rahul, you hit the nail on the head. Thanks for that. I think upskilling. Things are so vulnerable, so uncertain. One cannot say, hey, AI will work today. It may not work tomorrow. There might be a crisis where internet stops working. What do you do then? Right? So upskilling, right? It's not just about, again, Rahul mentioned about this while we are talking about skill sets, but there is a huge aspect around mindset, right? How do you want to be agile, right? If this is a crisis, how do I navigate around it? So I would say the third thing is invest, invest, invest. There is a lot of trend of outsourcing and giving it to media agencies. Great, that works fantastic. But to your point, outsource those things that are not critical. Outsource those things which are not where you're not designing. Don't leave the designing aspect of marketing to the agencies. Keep that in house. So those would be some things that I would say, hey, avoid doing. One is definitely outsourcing your design and your gray cells of marketing into outsource that. And second is automate. Be ruthless in your innovation. You find something which is time consuming. See how you can automate it. So I'll kind of pause myself there. I know I've been kind of a little high level, but I think ABM and AI as such part of the toolkit would definitely be something that I would urge every marketer to go ahead for.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aditya. And I could, relate when you said that outsource something which is not your core. Okay, because I don't know from since when, but I've been very vocal about vital business functions, and whatever is not your vital business function, just forget about it. Just move it to somebody else who masters that piece. Sure. Thanks a lot. So moving on to Rahul. Rahul, in perspective of large organization, how a CMO can support the entire organization during a crisis. You can relate to the present crisis which is going on. Over to you, Rahul.
Yeah, I think a crisis which happens due to external factors like this current one we're going through, from a context of a marketing team or a CMO, I think this is the moment to shine for a marketer because couple of reasons. I think CMOs are best placed to actually build in resilience in the organization. Get the right communication out. How do you overcome the short-term perils which you're going through? How do you build a long-term vision from a brand in an uncertain future? And I think it's a lot about storytelling, which a CMO now needs to step in and do. And that communication, as I keep sort of harping on the fact that the more we communicate, the more we are able to overcome any misunderstanding or not being on the same page, not understanding each other, or in the crisis everybody's worried, everybody's mind is going here and there. How do you get it to one direction? I think the CMO has a big role to play here, and also because things like say CRM and the other sort of marketing tools are accessed by the CMO, and it's sort of the KPI of the CMO to ensure that your customer advocacy is extremely high. The CMO is mostly the first person to get access to this information and act on it as well. Instead of, rather than, as I mentioned, agile network, agile sort of marketing mindset has to come into play now. and prioritize things from an organization point of view to either sail through this period and also have a long-term view. I think that's extremely crucial from a marketing point of view. The other part, which we've all been stressing here, I think CMOs now can actually become probably lead the digital transformation. Every large organization has a digital transformation project going on. Okay, and that has a time map of 3, 5, 8 years. There are multiple vendors an organization is working on for the digital transformation. Who's the digital transformation being done for? It's ultimately the end customers, right? The end consumers are moving much rapidly ahead than what your digital transformation project probably will lead you to. So the CMO now needs to step in and also play the role of a CTO if required. May not have the same competencies. I'm not saying that a CTO is not required, but be a very close advisor with the technology teams to drive that agenda. And I think that's something which is going to make most companies future-proof going ahead. And the third part is, all organizations have a very strong strategy team, which is working on, the organization's 4-year, 5-year acquisition, selling, all that part of it. I think the CMO should also be a very, very core member of the strategy team, or maybe the strategy team is merged with the CMO, because a lot of the strategies, again, what you're doing is based on consumer insights, where are the consumers moving, and if the CMO has access to that information, that should be used in the right manner and efficiently communicated internally and externally as well for the organization to be future ready. So yeah, I think those are my, again, very macro points there. Happy to go in deeper if you need any information on that. Yeah.
No, but that's very valid, and I totally agree that the CMO organization needs to guide the entire organization as to, what is the customer thought process, or where is it moving to, and so on and so forth. So very valid points.
I can actually give you an example if you like, Anand. It may not be totally apt for this discussion, this particular topic of what the CMO's role is, but I can just try and give you one example. So right in the middle of the pandemic last year, on 1st of May, we launched our Hindi general entertainment channel. Okay, it's a Hindi GEC which is competing with the likes of the biggies. We had, as Star, Colors, etc. And we're launching it right in the middle of the pandemic. Should we launch it? Yes, why not? Again, your business has to go on. You've got to do business. B, is it a good time to launch? Yes, of course it's a good time to launch. People need, some source of entertainment when they are locked up at homes, etc. 3, how do we launch it? If everything is closed, most of your media vehicles are closed. How do you let people know that this is going to be a new offering? So look at what trends are happening, and whatever all that happened over a period of 1 week or 2 weeks, and ultimately we launched the channel in association with Facebook. So imagine a Hindi broadcast channel, which is the free-to-air channel catering to tier 2, tier 3 towns. We became the first channel to simulcast launch on Facebook with official partnership with Facebook, and that sort of took a lot of that reached a lot of our audiences who never heard about us in these markets, and also helped either both Facebook get access to newer audiences and us reach out to more people. So looking at so it's just a different lens when you start looking at every challenge or a crisis which comes to you, and making it more positive.
Very well valid.
Semi-digital, semi-consumer understanding sort of example. Yeah.
Sure. No, that's great, Rahul. Thank you so much. That's really great. Okay, Abhishek, coming back to you, what piece of advice you would give to the audience to prepare for a crisis?
I think Anand, there's been a lot of advice already, sort of passed on from the three of us. But to sort of summarize at least my thought process, or sort of what I'm taking away from this conversation, I would love to sort of put that down in some sort of clear thought words. I think, yeah, one of the things that I know I keep repeating it multiple times, but I think it's something that I hold a lot of value in, and I see a lot of output coming out of, is again being absolutely clear in your communication. And I think Rahul stressed very heavily on that. So I think I completely agree with him there, that you need to have a very strong communication channel with your audience. And that is only going to be built by having a very clear idea of who your audience is and what are they doing in their sort of spare time. And I think, as Rahul mentioned with that example of launching that channel with Facebook, I think that is sorry, I think that is a very apt example because I think from a tier two, tier three audience perspective who are sort of consuming a lot of GEC content, I think Facebook becomes a natural no-brainer platforms to sort of, capture their attention at least. So amazing job, Rahul, there, of course. And I think, yeah, again, sort of sets an example in terms of how can you identify, like basically once you have a very clear understanding of who your audience is and what are they doing with their sort of spare time or where can you find them, it becomes absolutely clear, even in sort of, middle of a crisis, to be able to reach out to them and to be able to get your word across, right? So again, yeah, sort of reiterating that just, the audience has like sort of completely understood what or basically how important this particular factor is, right? And apart from that, I think as marketers, it's very important during a crisis to be able to let go of the target or let go of your, I think the 6 month plan or the 1 year plan or the quarterly plans that you put forward, because this is not what the plan was sort of, imbibed by. There were a lot of factors that are currently at play that the plan did not take into place, right? So sort of let that plan be, try and be more present in the moment, try and be more grounded in terms of, being sort of in touch with what is happening around and be able to adapt yourself in that sort of manner. Because if that's not happening, you're going to lose the fundamental messaging that you would want to eventually drive out to your audience, right? I think there was a book I was reading. I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name. I would have loved to sort of give that name out so more people could read it. But there was a line I read that, I think stayed with me, and especially with the whole pandemic that has been going on, it sort of becomes more and more relevant in my head. It was by a marketer. I think, I can't get the name, but basically the line read that sustain the short term and you will thrive in the long term. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? To be able to sort of push your target or push your number aside and be like, let's sustain this short term by sort of being relevant, by being empathetic, by being efficient communicators. And once you've been able to do that in the short term, you will be able to thrive very efficiently in the long term. And I think another thing, Anand, I would like to talk about is the loyalty and trust factor that you can build with your customer during times like crisis, right? I think on a very average day, you can have fantastic communication. You can have some very creative ideas in your sort of, content going out, and it would still be received well with the audience. But if you're able to be very empathetic and if you're able to connect with your audience very well during a crisis, I think the trust and loyalty that you can build in that sort of particular moment surpasses any other creative content sort of highlight that you can build with them. So I think I think as we were talking about previously as well of how we could even go for a moment look at this as an opportunity. I think that is again a fundamental concept that we should spend some time thinking about, because this is the time where you can definitely build a very strong connection with your audience. And again, I think the way you can do it is something, Anand, that we've spoken about. I think at least on a macro level, over the last, I think, 30 odd minutes, is that you have to sort of be present where they are and communicate very efficiently with them and just understand what they're trying to sort of talk to you about or what are the difficulties they're facing. And then I think the road becomes much easier from there. So yeah, I think this is what I would like to close with, Anand. If there's anything else, more than happy to sort of, elaborate on that.
No, that's great, Abhishek, and thank you for that, because very rightly put, it has to be relevant. It has to be with empathy, right? People, as well as organizations, are going through tough times, and we need to be sensitive about it as well. So thanks for that, Abhishek. Yeah, Aditya, doing my round robin, coming back to you, how one should manage post-crisis and unprepared events.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to see how I'm not repeating any of us and Arsen and myself too. But I think on the post crisis, I think.
Yeah, so let me clarify. So suppose some crisis has happened, okay, which was not planned or which was not foreseen, right? But what does the marketing organization should do about it? You can take any reference to an organization or any incident that must have happened.
Yeah. I think I'll kind of give the same point, but I'll probably give you an example of what happened in my own organization, and I admire that from a CMO standpoint. And this was something actually which wasn't part of the COVID exercise, so to speak, or a BCP exercise. But Michelle, who had joined us about a year and a half back, understood the importance of upskilling. And not just because we come from that aspect, but I think she ensured that the entire team was imbibing that. We had virtual book clubs, talking about a lot of books, thoughts on a lot of books, because I think that as a team, right, there are a lot of strategy books. There are fantastic marketeers who have written out of their own experience, right? Maybe it's Seth or David Miller. There are loads of them. I think that would definitely be at, fundamentally talking, right? That is your biggest learning, that this downtime is actually, I would say, skill time, right? Take this time to actually learn. This crisis has given us that, hey, there are a lot of limitations, and see what you have done in these limitations or what you can do. And I'm sure once you actually come out, you can certainly use these back. So for example, I think what we have decided to do, for an example, is no more just have, prior to this crisis, our mentality of looking at demand generation campaigns was, is this digital or is this going to be traditional? And just prior to the COVID, we did a very interesting exercise, because China at that time was the first one, of course, right, dealing with the COVID issue. And we said hybrid. We talked about, let's have this event, which is actually a physical event, but you will get this streamed online. And so you not just had about, a handful or probably 50, 60 audience on that physical event, but you are actually able to do that outreach to what Rahul was talking about, right? You have to amplify a message. So I would look at, what did you do prior to the crisis? What did you do in the crisis? And put it together and see, you can get, I'm sure you can synergize, right? So I would say hybrid is what I would say a clear-cut example. We have decided that events that have been traditional, right, are consumer user groups, which have been traditionally a physical event. We are going to do hybrid, right? The outreach is just massive. So I would say, I would say definitely upskill, see what you have done, what has worked well in these limited times, but also not just let go of, once the COVID is out and say, all right, hey, let's get back to our normalcy and let's just do what we were doing. But I think use that digital transformation, use the journey to actually start combining these two and amplify marketing all together forever. Yeah, that would be my 2 cents on that.
No, sure. Thank you so much, Aditya. I think that was great, and I'll circle back with some other thoughts on this with you. But moving on to my next question, and almost towards the end, Rahul, how technology can augment the marketeer's effort in crisis management?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and quite sort of close to me as a professional as well. I think what many marketers do is they actually think a successful technology onboarding implementation is also successful marketing transformation. No, that is not true. You can get every tool, you can get anything you want in terms of technology, but that doesn't make you or the team a transformed marketing team or a transformed business function with in the corporate world. Because see, the fact is, in the world is flat for technology. Okay, some organizations start off early, adopt a new technology. Some organization will come up and do it later. You could always not be the first mover, but end of the day, technology, everybody gets access to technology. It's not that you have a competitive edge once you have onboarded technology. I think what's important is obviously adoption of that technology and how you're realizing the value, but setting out very, very clear goals and objectives of what you want to do. I can give you an example. my own personal example. We run a fairly successful OTT platform. We were the 32nd OTT platform to launch in India. Shimaru Me is a platform name, and as an organization, we've seen 31 OTT brands in India already running business. So we knew what technology everybody is using. It's easy to find out. We exactly knew what is their funnel, who are they going after, what is their video streaming platform, to attribution tools, what are they using, what price are they paying. All that's great information to have, but till the time my product, so for example, I am positioned towards a tier 3, tier 4 audience, and my product doesn't talk that language and doesn't seem like that, what's the point of having all the technology in place? What's the point of pulling in loads of big data, which is the new conversation trend, big data, when you don't have teams internally who can access big data and find it useful for implementation, both for business and for marketing purposes? So technology, yes, does help you come out of, if it's happened, and most people who are digital ready have benefited in the crisis as compared to companies who were for the first time entering digital. We've seen that with retail a lot, including real estate a lot actually. So technology, yes, is important, and every company should be looking at technology and embracing it, because crisis can come anytime and move you out. But what to do with the technology should be preset much in advance as part of your business policy and then implemented. So for me, yeah, I think crisis technology has benefited organizations, but it's only benefited companies who are clear about the vision from before that as well.
Rahul, it reminds me, and I thought I'll just kind of give, Skillsoft standpoint, because we do a lot of, upskilling on the digital transformation. And you rightly put it, digital transformation, the way we say it is, hey, it is not digitization where you're just doing a technology upgrade. Yeah. It's not your floppy disk going to thumb drives and now cloud. It's actually an amalgamation of your business strategy and then how technology is enabling that. So nicely put it. Absolutely agree with you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're apt on that. Okay, so I think we are almost on top of the hour, and Abhishek had a technical glitch. Because of that, he dropped off. So we'll conclude here. This was quite interesting, and Aditya mentioned that turning crisis into opportunity, and how it's an entire organization to work with the marketing organization. But I feel the CMO office needs to show proper lighting or the proper path as to what's needed from the organization, right? Clear expectation setting. Then Aditya, you mentioned marketer needs to knock off what is not helping the organization, okay? And you spoke about AI tools, crawlers, and you mentioned Zoom Info with caveat. Rahul did mention about reach out required during crisis, giving a human face to a brand. Survival toolkit means more communication, and you did discuss about MVP, minimum viable plan, must be there. A future ready team. Thanks so much for that, Rahul. CMO team builds resilience in the org and also lead digital transformation, because CMO has to have ears and eyes as to which direction the customer or consumer segment is moving to. And Rahul did mention about technology is not something which is a differentiator. Everybody has access to it. It all depends, or the success depends on how it is adopted. So I have taken my notes diligently. Abhishek did mention about marketing as a two-way street, right? And focus on community building, right? Communication clarity and with empathy, loyalty and trust factor. So I think this last 55 minutes have been simply amazing. I'm very confident that you have enjoyed this enriching session as much as I did. Moreover, it's always beneficial to hear from the leaders directly. You can watch the past webinars on www.cxotv.news on demand. And we thank each one of you for taking out time and attending this event, and wish you all the success during these challenging times. With this, I call it a day. Thanks again to Aditya, Abhishek, and Rahul. Thanks again for your esteemed presence, and wish you a great week ahead. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.